March the 9th, nests. March sees a jump in nest building from the small number constructed in the previous 2 months, yet it is still a select few that take the often foolhardy step of building a nest before the leaves unfurl to camouflage it. Consequently, the contents of these nests are often destroyed by predators, but the birds involved generally go on to have more broods. We start to notice birds carrying twigs, hair, dry moss, um, grass, and feathers as they fly back and forth during their construction. Gardens are the best places to see this, as the birds concerned are the ones that we normally see daily. Robins, hedge sparrows, blackbirds, and song thrushes are all not only nest building this month, but could be on eggs by the end of it. The latter two birds have similar nests that are often confused. Both are cup-shaped, but the blackbird's nest has a final lining of dry grasses, whereas the song thrush's nest is just a smooth, dry bowl with no grass lining. In woodlands, there are a few more birds that decide to take the plunge, most notably rooks, crows, wood pigeons, stock doves, pheasants, and starlings. When the urge comes to build, starlings accomplish the task quicker than most, completing their ragtag affair of straw, grass, and feathers in a matter of just a few hours. Other birds that might have started nesting in woods are chaffinches, nuthatches, buzzards, and owls. It is the tawny owl and the much rarer long-eared owl that are normally the first to start, but our other owls follow quickly. On more open ground, we can expect but are unlikely to see the nests of lapwings, skylarks, partridges, woodcocks, and stonechats. On or near water, there is another select group. That is herons, cormorants, mallards, moorhens, little and great crested grebes, kingfishers, and sand martins. Kingfishers have now returned to rivers and streams from their winter quarters and are likely to be excavating meter-long tunnels in riverbanks. Sometimes they prefer sandbanks, so artificial ones have been constructed at Barnes Wetland Centre to attract them. Sand martins, which also prefer this habitat, sometimes choose to join them. With swans and grebes, we can easily watch the whole process of nest building. Grebes collect small pieces of vegetation together at the edges of ponds and lakes to create a nest about the size of a dinner plate, but with mute swans, the mound of vegetation can be a half a meter high and 2 meters across. There are a few that would attempt to interfere to even get close to a nesting mute swan, as we are all told as children the dubious fact that they can break your arms with their wings. Their nest can be seen quite often in London, particularly in our larger parks, for example, Hampton Court Park. Other unusual habitats chosen as nesting sites are shingle banks and quarries. Ring plovers are attracted to them now, and jackdaws next month. Collared doves prefer hedges, mistle thrushes strong forks in trees, and magpies and feral pigeons all manner of different holes. It is also worth checking on old abandoned crow and magpie nests, as well as squirrel drays, as they are sometimes commandeered by the same bird or possibly owls. Nests and cells show an astonishing range of different constructions. They can be a meter across in the case of the heron, or just a tiny elastic woven ball of lichen, moss, and spiders' webs, as is the case in the long-tailed tits nest. Magpies have dome nests with entrances at the side, whereas lapwings merely use a scrape in the ground. Kingfishers are happy with just a few bones to act as their nest. Fish bones to act as their nest. The notoriously untidy nests of crows and magpies are surprisingly durable. The carefully made cup of a magpie's nest has been known to remain in a tree after the rest of the nest is blown away. The positioning of nests is equally varied, with crows preferring the tops of trees, whereas thrushes and chaffinches prefer forks in the branches lower down. Owls, starlings, nuthatches, and woodpeckers will all be using any holes available, and robins are quite content among the basal roots. We are usually only made aware of all this activity when we see a bird tugging frenetically at possible nest material, then flying off with it, only to return immediately to collect more. If you become more inquisitive looking at a nest, you are likely to suffer a few scolding calls, reminding you the nest should remain unseen and undisturbed to avoid it being abandoned. One of the most enjoyable sights of the month is to watch the commotion of nest building in rookeries. In the first week of March, you often see birds attempting to rebuild their nests, which, being set so high in trees, have suffered in the winter storms. As this is done, there is some argument among the birds as to the exact positioning of their nest, leading to all manner of scuffles and skirmishes. One of the nesting pair usually stays at the nest stays at the nest to stop any pilfering of sticks by the neighbours. The other bird collecting twigs, grass, and even occasional flowers for its refurbishment. Some rookeries have been in continual use for over a century, and in such cases, seedlings or even grass has been seen growing in the nest. Below, there can be a considerable debris of fallen sticks, discarded food, lining, eggshells, and guano. While the hen is on the nest, the male is highly attentive to her. He feeds her and calls to her more softly than usual. These special calls have been called the rook's song. He also bows to her a lot and fans his tail. Fortunately for us, rooks are unusual in generally letting us get quite close before showing any signs of being disturbed. However, once the alarm is raised, half the colony seems to take to the skies with a cacophony of raucous cawing, quite different from the croaks and rattles you normally hear within the colony.